Gently close your eyes. Deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejas vinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 61 to 65 of chapter 2. Tani sarvani sanyamya,
Tani sarvani sanyamya,
yukta asita matparaha,
yukta asita matparaha,
vashe hi yasyendriyani,
vashe hi yasyendriyani,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
dhyayato vishayan pumsaha,
dhyayato vishayan pumsaha,
sangasteshu pajayate,
sangasteshu pajayate,
sangat sanjayate kamaha,
sangat sanjayate kamaha,
kamat krodho bhijayate,
kamat krodho bhijayate,
krodhat bhavati sammohaha,
krodhat bhavati sammohaha,
sammohat smriti vibhramaha,
sammohat smriti vibhramaha,
smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha,
smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha,
buddhinashat pranashyati,
buddhinashat pranashyati,
ragadvesha vimuktaistu,
ragadvesha vimuktaistu,
vishayanindriyaischaran,
vishayanindriyaischaran,
atmavasyairvidheyatma,
atmavasyairvidheyatma,
prasadamadigacchati,
prasadamadigacchati,
prasade sarvadukhanam,
prasade sarvadukhanam,
hanirasyopajayate,
hanirasyopajayate,
Prasannachetaso hyashu
प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु
Buddhi Paryavatishthate.
बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So last week we started verse number 62. So in verses 62 and 63, he is mapping the ladder of fall, how exactly you lose mastery over your own mind. A brilliant analysis he is making in these two verses, which will be of immense help to you as a sadhak. It is very easy to understand everything else, but the most difficult thing is to understand your own mind. You can gain knowledge about so many things from outside, but to gain an experiential knowledge, that is wisdom, of how your mind operates is the most difficult thing. So when we are going through these verses, as I have been telling you, this is the yogic approach. So we will be penetrating into these verses outside, but we will also be relating it to our own minds. That is very important. Every point which you study there should give you a better experiential understanding of yourself. If you merely gain the points from outside, and if you reproduce all these points again externally and stop with that, that will not help you to evolve spiritually. But if you use these verses every Sunday, we are going really deep, which is the yogic approach. So if you use these verses as a mirror, then it will help you. A mirror reflects your body. Similarly, these verses actually reflect your personality. The Bhagavad Gita is a reflection of your own life. So if you set aside your life and if you study the Bhagavad Gita separately, then you are missing the very spirit of the Bhagavad Gita. As William Shakespeare says, words. They will just become empty words. So yogic approach to the Bhagavad Gita or any scripture is basically not understanding the scripture per se, but it is in understanding life through these scriptures. That is why I tell you repeatedly that it does not matter which verse we are doing, how have we finished this chapter, which chapter we are doing. All these things do not matter. Because in the yogic approach, we are trying to penetrate life itself. We are not trying to penetrate merely these verses externally. And you are the center of your life. So if you want to gain wisdom about your life, you need to understand about the center of your life, which is yourself. Your own mind. So it's a great opportunity in these two verses. You will get a comprehensive understanding. That is, the tools will be given to you. Thereafter, how much you use them to transform yourself depends on you only. So what is he saying here? A human being, pumsaha. Last week I explained the significance of the word pumsaha. A human being thinking on sense objects. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. Vishayan means sense objects. Dhyayato means thinking, musing. So, a human being thinking on sense objects develops attachment. Sangasteshu pajayate. Sangaha means attachment. Teshu, for them. Actually it means in them, but it's poetry, And then he goes on. What happens after attachment? From attachment is born kamaha, desire, uncontrolled desire. And then from kamaha is born anger. And in the next verse, he'll be going through with the second half. After anger, what happens? So as I said, the word pumsaha is a preparation to study the ladder of fall. Because whenever we are studying the ladder of fall or the ill effects of the mind, there is a danger of you getting into a spirit of a sense of depression. You may start feeling very low about yourself. You may lose your self-confidence. I have seen that happening to many people in the spiritual path because they go on reading about the dangers of the mind and the uncontrolled mind. They go on studying about the various negative emotions, how emotions, when they turn negative, they can cause havoc. And when they go on studying about that, slowly, I've seen them losing confidence in life. That is why first step is establishing yourself as a human being. So as I said, a human being is one who has this choice of action, the potential to become the infinite. No other creature in this universe has this capacity. So since you have this choice, once you get established in that perception, once you know that you have so much of potential, then when you make a thorough study of what tricks the mind can play, how exactly you lose your mastery, you will never lose your confidence. Because all this study will only be to conquer yourself. You're studying the strengths and the weaknesses of the opponent so that you can defeat the opponent. A person who is not well prepared in any field, let us say it could be cricket or tennis or any field where there is an opponent involved, and when he tries to study the strengths of the opponent, chances are he will lose his confidence. So the preparation is the key, and establishing yourself, understanding your own worth is the preparation here. So pumsaha. Now this entire ladder of fall, that is how the entire process of how you lose mastery happens when you don't use the choice properly. Choice, the power to choose, which has been given to you as a human being. So after this whole analysis, he will be getting on with how you need to choose the higher and move up. Before these verses also, he said that matparaha, choose the higher, choose the infinite aspect within you. Make that honest efforts. And then he gives you what will happen if you choose the lower, which is what we're going to see. And then again he will pick it up. So how does this ladder of fall, how do you happen? How does it exactly function, the mind? How you lose mastery over yourself? He says step number 1, the first thing that happens is dhyayato vishayan, thinking on sense objects. The word used is dhyayato. Dhyayato is derived from the word dhyay. Dhyay means to think of something, to ponder, to imagine, to call to mind, recall. The most interesting thing is dhyayato also means to meditate. The word dhyanam is also based on the same root only. So if you actually bring in that meaning, actually if you know the Sanskrit language, you will be confused in this verse. But most people who know the Sanskrit language, they just study these things superficially, so they don't get confused. A great thinker said, confusion is the first sign of wisdom. Because if you try to go deep into something, then you will find apparent contradictions and you will solve those contradictions. And when you solve those contradictions, you will attain the deeper wisdom. So when you study superficially also, you will feel you have understood everything. At the end of your penetration, of your deep study also, you will understand everything. But there is a world of a difference. So, dhyayato, when he uses this word, he is not talking about the higher meditative state. See, meditation has many aspects, dhyanam. Now, one aspect of meditation is to focus. So that aspect can be brought in here, focused in the sense to put your attention onto something. But what is the basic difference between the way he is using the word here and the word, when he uses the same word, the word dhyanam elsewhere, like there is a chapter called Dhyana Yoga, how the yoga of meditation. We'll be seeing that also later. I think it is the 6th chapter. Now there he uses the word dhyanam, which is the same root, but there it means something totally different. It means exactly the opposite of this. That is why never get caught up with words. If you go to the Upanishads, sometimes they use the word Atman to mean the physical body also. Because anyway, these truths are beyond words. You cannot fix these truths with one or two words like that. So don't get caught up with words. Go by the spirit of what he is trying to give you. So when he talks of dhyayato, thinking, what he means is thinking without awareness, not conscious thinking. Thinking which happens on its own. Whenever your thoughts are running towards an object, and when you are completely aware of that, that is called concentration. It is a positive thing. But when your thoughts are running towards an object, without your control, without your awareness, then it is a negative thing. So we have to understand it in the context. And the context is the ladder of fall. So what is he referring to? Thinking which happens on its own without any kind of sifting or filtering. See, whenever you think about something, when you don't use any kind of yardstick to find out whether this thing which I am thinking about, is it good for me or is it harmful to me? When you don't apply your awareness, your intellect to do the sifting process, then what will happen is that the thoughts will run towards that object without knowing what the consequences are. Any kind of addiction happens only when the thoughts run towards that object without understanding the consequences. By chance, if the consequences are good, it may be fine. But if the consequences are not good, it's very dangerous. So, uncontrolled thinking process, the thoughts when they run on their own without any conscious effort, it's very interesting. First, we saw what is pumsaha, being a human being. Now I told you, a human being alone has this choice of action. You can choose whatever you want in life. See, every other creature continues to remain the same, right from birth till death. Its nature does not change. Whereas a human being can evolve from the lowest to the highest or devolve and go down. I'm talking of in spirituality. This can happen in even in the material world also, but in this context I'm talking of the spiritual evolution or devolution. A human being alone has this capacity. Now, since a human being has this choice, see, the moment we talk of choice, a choice can be made only with awareness. Without awareness, when a choice is made, that is not considered as a choice. The moment we say choice means either you can go to the left or right, and you consciously decide, yes, I will take the right. But without any kind of awareness, if you just turn right, then you are not using that choice effectively. Actually, you are not choosing. So, a human being who is not aware or conscious will devolve. he or she will go down in the path of spirituality. Now you may ask me, if you take an animal, now I have always said an animal does not have a choice of action. If you keep a bone and let's say curd rice in front of a dog will go for the bone only. That is its natural state. That is how it is made. It's a pre-programmed life. A woodpecker goes on pecking. You cannot stop a woodpecker from pecking. A nightingale goes on singing. If you say now stop singing, nightingale cannot. So no other creature has this choice of action. So animals act unconsciously. Therefore your question will be, isn't it logical the animals also should devolve? Why is it that when animals act unconsciously, they don't devolve, whereas when human beings alone, when they lose their consciousness, they start devolving? Why? The reason is because animals don't have a choice of action. It's a pre-programmed life. So when a tiger kills its prey, we don't call it murder. We use the word killing only, because there is no karma created. A karma is created only by a human being. Whereas when a human being kills someone, we say he murders. Why? Because he has this choice of action. So whenever you become conscious and with full awareness, when you choose, then you start evolving. Now you may ask me, sir, if we choose, let us say, the wrong thing with full awareness, will we evolve? Yes. Because the moment you bring in full awareness, you will not choose the wrong thing. If at all you make a mistake in facts, it's a question of time. You will correct yourself. Consciously will you choose something which is harmful to you? It is impossible. So when you lose your awareness, that is called dhyayate, dhyayato in this context. Dhyayi. Thoughts running on their own. You start pondering. The other dimensions of this word are also very much applicable. Casually thinking. You know, it's very, very interesting. The casual thoughts which we have, once they gain momentum, they can completely destroy you. Everything happens casually only to start with. There was a drug addict who came to me for advice. I asked him to do sadhana, and over a period of time he came out of that. Now, I first asked him, how did you start taking drugs? He said, when he was in college, some of his friends were taking drugs. And they all said, why don't you give us company? First he resisted. They said, no, just one puff you take. So what's going to happen? So he said, I took it very casually. Okay, just one puff, just to give company to my friends. Result was, when he came and met me, it was almost 15 years after he left college. He has been an addict for 15 years. So everything starts off with a casual thought only. That is why dhyaya is very, very apt here. The other dimension of this word is imagine. I'll cover that as we go along, because that has a very, very deep significance. It goes to the next level when we apply that dimension here. I will cover it, but later, as I have to cover some more ground here, then it will be easy to penetrate into that dimension of what he means by imagine. So, Vishayan, Vishayah means sense objects. Vishayah means information, those objects which give you information. I explained that when we studied the word Indriya earlier in one of the verses. So very, very interesting. Jnana Indriyas means the sense objects of sense organs of perception. For example, eyes, ears, nose, all these things are Jnana Indriyas, sense organs of perception. So beautifully they have called them as Jnana Indriyas. Jnana means knowledge. So these sense organs are the tools through which you gain information or knowledge from the world. When you see something, you learn a certain aspect of that object. And then when you hear that object, let us say it is a person and the person talks, you gain more information. When you smell, you gain more information. Supposing it's a food and you take and taste it, you gain a lot of information about that. It is using these sense organs that you gain information from the world. And what is the source of information? Those objects. And therefore, in Sanskrit, the sense objects are called Vishayah. Vishayan means in plural. Singular word is Vishayah. Vishayah means that which provides information, that which provides knowledge. This is one of the basic urges of a human being. A human being constantly wants to explore. A human being wants to know. It is very interesting. Supposing, let us take a very hot place. It is a place with a hot climate. Now, for hundreds of years, many creatures may be living there. Now, none of the creatures will think about how to now combat this heat. They will develop a natural adaptation. They may develop a thick skin and all that. But they don't have that inquisitiveness to find out. They don't have that capacity at all to gain knowledge and to find out how can we now overcome this. Whereas of all the creatures there, supposing there are a group of human beings, they will not keep quiet. They will apply their intelligence and they will, that is how the AC was discovered, the air conditioner. Somehow or other, they will gain more information. The tendency to explore is a natural urge of a human being. You can never curtail it. That is why, when you go to the Upanishads, even the Bhagavad Gita, everywhere, it is always in the form of question and answers. The student asks a question and then the master replies. It is never a monologue. That's why I tell you, all of you, you should participate in this. Just because you're watching this online doesn't mean you should not participate. Whatever points are given, do absorb them. Whatever you're able to absorb sincerely, I've been mentioning, put them down in the comment section. Actually, it was a lady only asked me, can I send you the points, sir? Will you be able to see whether I'm grasping properly? So then I thought, why only one person? Why not give the opportunity to everyone? So when I am going through those comments, what the point, and sometimes when I find that a person is slightly off mark, then immediately in the next discourse I set it right automatically. That is the interaction. It's very necessary. An exploratory approach is what you should develop. Spirituality can be attained. Spiritual growth can be attained only through exploration. It is called Purushatvam. Purushatvam means an exploratory nature. Because when you learn to explore things in your life, then one day you will start exploring what is beyond life. For a person who develops this exploratory tendency, it is very easy, because all he has to do is to change the direction of that exploration from the terrestrial world to something which is beyond. One day you will start exploring what is beyond all this. Is there a God? If at all, who is this God? You know, today, unfortunately, they are dividing science and spirituality as, they say spirituality means faith, science means exploring, questioning. No, both science and spirituality means exploring only. No doubt faith also has a part both in science and in spirituality. For example, you may ask me, how does faith fit in science? Now, when a person, let's say Einstein's gravitational waves, he had put forward a theory many years back, and after so many years, two scientists have now given a practical proof. They've been doing research on that, and they've said his theory is correct. There are, he's bang on. They've proved it now. Now my question is, without any proof, why is it that they were trying to explore it and prove it? It was only a theory. It is a faith that yes, there is a strong possibility. Let us explore and see. We will definitely get an answer. If you don't have a faith that you will get an answer, you will never explore anything. That is where faith comes in. So faith, a basic faith, actually helps you to explore. It should help you to explore. But if faith stops the exploration, then that is not spirituality. You can, because spirituality is the highest science. What is the difference between modern science and spirituality? There is no difference in the approach. The only difference is modern science is focusing on the world, spirituality is focusing on the inner world. That is the external world, this is the inner world. So it's a very beautiful word he has used, Vishayan. Vishayan means the objects which give you information. So since as a human being you have this natural urge to explore, the mind will go on its own and try to gather information from the world, try to gain knowledge. You cannot stop it. Then you may ask me, what should you do? Using your choice of action, you can direct the mind to those objects which can give you positive information so that you don't become stressed. But if you try to cut off this exploratory nature of the mind, then you are stifling the very nature of the mind. Such a person will not grow. He or she will become stunted. Just as it is a nature of a plant or a tree to grow its roots. If you cut the roots, then the growth of the tree gets stunted. You must have seen the bonsai trees. You have such a small mango tree, very small mangoes. How? It's because they keep on cutting the roots so that the tree does not grow big. So similarly, when you cut off this tendency to explore, what will happen is your growth will get stunted. So dhyayate vishayan. First we'll understand why is it that the mind goes on its own towards any object. It is in order to gather information about that object. Why is it that the mind wants to gather information? That is the very natural urge of the mind. Just as the physical body has certain natural urges. Hunger is a natural urge. Thirst is a natural urge. You cannot suppress them. Similarly, one of the natural urges of the mind is to explore, gain knowledge. That is why, in the scriptures, they say that one of your main goals is to gain knowledge. It's not that they are fixing that goal for you. You have that tendency. If you're put in a room, let us say you're put in an unknown room, and suddenly you open your eyes and you see it's a new room with new objects, you will immediately start exploring. What is this object? How does this function? How does that function? This is a natural process. That is what he calls as vishayan. So your thoughts run towards the objects of the world in order to gather information, in order to gather knowledge. But if this happens without your awareness, what will happen is that you will start gathering information which is actually harmful to you. You will not know whether that information, you will not do any analysis whether information is good for me or not good for me. The mind will just go, the thoughts will just run and pick up various information. And whatever information, whatever knowledge you have, that creates a belief system within you. And your entire behavior, the way you function, everything is dependent on your belief systems only. Even when you're listening to whatever is being told here, your mind is not 100% free in receiving. You have your own belief systems. Whenever something is said which resonates with your belief system, you nod your head. You say what you're saying is correct. When something is said which is against your belief systems, then you frown. I don't agree with this. So even when you're nodding, actually you are listening to your mind only. You're not listening to what is being given here. So if you really want to become a sadhak, you need to learn to detach yourself from your belief system and then receive this wisdom. It's possible. Making your mind completely blank, becoming like a child, no prejudices. And then when you receive this wisdom, you will benefit maximum. So the thoughts run towards the object on their own in order to gather information, vishayan. So you need to be very careful whenever this happens. Bring in that awareness. If you don't develop this capacity to be aware, which is inherently present in you, if you don't use that, then the thoughts will start running towards anything and everything. There will be no rhyme or reason behind that. And the thoughts will just start gathering information within you. And as in the language of an IT person, they say, garbage in, garbage out. Similarly, whatever information which you gather, they will all form impressions in your deeper minds. And if the information which you gather cause negative emotions, then your entire personality will be filled with negative energy. Let us even take this present example, the present situation, the pandemic. Every day, if you're going to switch on the news, whenever you get time, you're seeing the news about coronavirus, how many people died, how many people. The same thing if you're going to watch. That information is what you're gathering. What will happen? After a while, the information will go and form a deep impression in your mind, and you will start fearing. Caution is good. I have covered this in one of the question answer sessions also. Caution is good, but I am talking of fear. When you consciously send your thoughts and gather the information, even about the coronavirus, you will gather only to such an extent where you need to be cautious. That's all that you need to be. But when you don't have this awareness, you will go on gathering information, not only from trusted sources. Nowadays this social media is there, WhatsApp, each one sends forwards messages without checking whether that is it is correct or not. So all the information you go on gathering without any kind of awareness, and they all go inside and form a certain kind of belief system within you. So when people ask me, many questions I've gotten, how do we approach, the pandemic is on and coronavirus is there, how should we approach this whole situation? This is the first step. Do a basic sifting, a discrimination, an analysis. Decide what you need to know. Know where to stop. When you go on gathering information about the virus, ask yourself, is that required? What is the structure of the virus? I know a person, he has become, just by reading so much about the coronavirus, now he has become an expert about the coronavirus. You ask him what is the shape, how does the virus function, what are all the different, everything he'll tell you, how it attacks your immune system step by step, what will be the symptom in this first step, what will be the symptom in the second step, everything he knows. Then I asked him, do you know how the immune system fights the coronavirus? Step by step analysis, have you gained that information? He said no. So when there is no discrimination, the thoughts will just run towards an object and gain information without understanding the consequences. If only he had applied his awareness, then instead of learning so much about the virus, he would have applied his mind to learn about the immune system which can fight the virus. Because when you gain that information, that will also go within you, and instead of forming a negative impression of fear, it will form a positive impression of confidence. Because when you know how your immune system can fight the virus, the fear will go away. And when the fear goes away, it's like a catch-22 situation. Your immune system will also become more active. Fear is one of the factors. The doctors say fear actually suppresses your immune system. It brings down your immunity. Very, very interesting. So, dhyayate vishayan. When you apply the first dimension to dhyayate, thinking of something. Why do you think? Use the word vishaya. When you join these two, you get a complete picture. So throughout your life, right from morning till you go to bed, you're constantly gathering information about something or someone. When you gossip about someone, when you gossip about someone, in the sense when you hear somebody talking negatively about another person, what is in effect, what are you trying to do? Gathering information about that person. When you hear somebody talking positive about someone else, again you are gathering information. You have to be very careful, because the more negative information you gather, you will become a negative person. Everything will go out of control. The second meaning, casual thinking. See, these are all the different urges of the mind, the different aspects of the mind, the different natures, functionalities of the mind. So the more you understand this, the better will become your wisdom about your own mind. The second thing is casual thinking. Another functionality of the mind is to casually generate thoughts. See, the first functionality is it generates thoughts in order to gather information. The second quality of the mind is just to casually generate thoughts. In the first case, there is a seriousness about it. You genuinely want to know about something. In the second case, there are people who want to just casually know about something. It will not really matter to you whether you gain that information or not. But yet, there is always a tendency to overcome boredom. See, why is it that you generate casual thoughts? Whenever you feel bored, you generate casual thoughts. You pick up something and casually do that. A classic example of that is when you are very, very bored, what you do is you open the fridge. Casually you take the potato chips and you start munching, which should be differentiated from a serious thought. Supposing you are very hungry, you genuinely have number one is hunger, the other is the taste also. You feel like eating the potato chips. Then those thoughts run towards that object, you pick it up, you pick the potato chips and you put them in your mouth and you eat. That is the first thing. There is a seriousness about it. But the second one is casual. You're bored, you don't know what to do. Take the potato chips and eat them. One of the reasons for obesity, they say, is boredom. That is, you overeat in order to overcome boredom. So a human mind faces, this weakness, has this weakness of getting bored very easily. And in order to overcome that boredom, it generates casual thoughts. And that is very dangerous, because whenever there is a casual thought, since it is so casual, it will look innocuous. It will look very innocent. But that is what is more dangerous, because when something is innocuous, there are more chances of you getting into that. There are more chances of you pursuing that without your knowledge. Like what happened to this man who became a drug addict. It was just a casual thought. Okay, let me give company to my friends. But where did it lead him to? It led him to becoming a complete addict. There are many, many people I know who have become overeaters, or who have become addicts to alcohol, to drugs, to even something as simple as, as I said, overeating some food because of a casual approach. They're just sitting at home and they are so bored. So in order to overcome that boredom, they pick up something. And whenever you're casual about something, since it's so innocuous, you don't do the sifting process again. You don't see whether the consequences of that action, of that thought, will be positive or negative. That is the very nature of a casual approach. So, how do you overcome this? A yogi never feels bored in life. See, whenever you say, I am bored, you should think about it. Bored with whom? You are bored with yourself only. And if you are bored with yourself, how can you expect others to find you interesting? A yogi is one who is always focused on himself or herself. He is resting in that higher self. I told you, you have these two aspects, the finite and the infinite aspect within you. A yogi is one who is always focused on that infinite. Therefore, he or she never gets bored. And when you are not bored, the thoughts will not slip casually. The casual thinking will never ever happen. It will always be with awareness. See, again, remember, the first dimension, which was thinking, and the second dimension, which was casually thinking, both are fine as long as they are done with awareness. But when there is no awareness, when they happen on their own, that is when it is very dangerous. So till you get to that state where you get attuned to the infinite, at least what you can practice as a sadhana is to bring that interest in life, to bring that enthusiasm in life. That's why they say follow your swadharma. Swadharma means your nature. Whatever you are talented in, whatever you are interested in, if you base your life on that, you will not be bored. Work itself becomes so enjoyable that work will start providing relaxation to you. You will not require a separate time for relaxation. When work is not enjoyable, that work will become a drudgery. You will get bored after a while. So start enjoying everything which you do. As soon as you wake up, you go and brush your teeth. Enjoy brushing your teeth. Have you ever enjoyed brushing your teeth? You are right now, you are looking at me as if I have said something which is very strange. It is not strange. A yogi learns to enjoy normal things of life. Whenever you drink water, have you ever enjoyed water? You just gulp it down. No. Start enjoying the basic things of life. When you have a bath, have you enjoyed having a bath? Then when you go to work, enjoy your work. When you're eating, enjoy your food. If you're cooking, enjoy cooking. Whatever it is that you're doing in life, start enjoying. Then you will never get bored. That is the way to overcome this weakness. If you don't do that, then you will get into this state which he is saying. The mind will just slip on its own. It will start finding other avenues to overcome boredom. There was an artist, he was a great singer, a classical musician, and he was into drugs, and he came out of it by doing the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana sincerely. He completely came out of it. But he asked me this question, sir, why is it that, what prompted me to get into drugs? So he was into classical music. So when I explained to him, he gained so much of clarity. He said, what happens in classical music is, initially you will learn a few things. Thereafter, it is not about going in the learning more things. It is about going deep into one thing which you have learned. That is what is real classical music. Not only music, whether it's classical music or classical dance, any classical art is going into the depth, like how we are doing here with the Bhagavad Gita. We are going into the depth. Now, at that point, if you don't appreciate going into the depth, or if somebody does not teach you properly, or you also don't learn properly, then what will happen is you will be left with a vacuum. You will get bored, and that is when there are chances of you getting into drugs. And he told me this is exactly what happened to him. So I said, first of all, take up your basic lessons in classical music. He was a very well established singer, he's a very famous singer. And I said, but you go to the basic notes, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, and start practicing each one, elongate each note and go into the depth of it. Every day do that sadhana. So he started practicing that. And as he practiced that, he started going into the depth of the music. That immediately was an antidote to the boredom. All the tendencies to go for drugs, everything disappeared. So he didn't give up the drugs. The drugs automatically gave him up. So if you follow these practical tips which are being given here, you don't need to give up your negativities. The negativities will leave you. That is why, many people, they report to me, they say that, sir, when we did the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana, when we started doing it, automatically many negative habits, harmful habits which we had, they all just dropped off. Many negative emotions which we had, now where are they? They've just disappeared. Why? It is because of this only. Whenever you fill your mind with what it actually requires, then the mind stops looking for compensation. See, when the mind wants information, it does not have information, then it starts compensating. It tries to compensate ignorance with information or knowledge. When you fill the mind with the highest wisdom, it will no longer have this weakness. It will not try to compensate. When the mind has this weakness of boredom, then it tries to compensate it by generating casual thoughts about something. So when you overcome this weakness, automatically this tendency for the mind to run on its own will stop. And then the third dimension, the imagine part I'll come later, the calling to mind, that is recalling. This is another aspect of Dhyayi. After an experience is over, the mind has the tendency to call back the object, to recall that object. Now when this happens without your control, again you're frittering away your energies. The more you keep recalling things in your life, the more you will be developing an attachment towards them, which will later on cause suffering. That is what we're going to see, because thinking, how it develops attachment, addiction, and how that further produces various negative emotions, all that we'll be seeing. So whenever you recall about something, whenever you recall something with awareness, there is nothing wrong. Nowhere in the scriptures do they say don't think about the past. See, some people foolishly understand these great truths, They say just stop thinking of the past, just stop thinking of the future, focus on the present. Then you will go mad only. See, who is a mad person? One who's got a confused past, one who does not care about what the future is. It is only said, don't worry about the past. Don't be anxious about the future. Of course, you need to sit and plan for your future. If there is no planning, your whole life will be directionless. Similarly, you have to learn from your past mistakes. Only then you will not repeat those mistakes again. So, recalling something without your awareness, without any control, that is dangerous, because the mind is just going to that object again and again. When does it recall? That also we'd see, because it is not enough. See, what we are trying to do here in this yogic approach is, he's just saying dhyato, which means to ponder, to casually think, then to recall. But we are also getting into the deeper aspects and trying to study that aspect of the mind which is leading to this. So when does the mind go back to an object again and again? Whenever you contact an object, a sense object, and when that object gives you either pleasure or pain. It can be either way. It gives you pleasure or it gives you pain. After the experience is over, your mind will keep on recalling that object. If it is a very pleasurable experience, the mind will keep thinking about it again and again. If it is a very painful experience, again the mind will keep thinking about it. Depending upon the intensity of the pleasure or pain which that object gave you, your mind will keep recalling that experience to that extent. If something gives you immense pleasure, after the experience is over, you will not be able to focus on anything else. You will only keep thinking about it again and again. If something gives you immense pain, again, you will not be able to focus on anything else. After the experience is over, you will keep thinking about it again and again. If something does not give you either pleasure or pain, it is just a neutral experience, you will not recall it. The mind will not want to go to it because it will be boring for the mind. What is there? It's like a sugar cane without any juice, There is no me, you'll throw it away. So, this recalling tendency is the next weakness of the mind. Recalling on its own. When you sit and say, okay, let me now study the past, for some reason you make an analysis. Sometimes, when you're doing your business or when you're, in order to take a proper decision right now, you may require some data from the past. There's nothing wrong. So you consciously decide, you allow the mind to go to the past and then take the data and then you analyze and you take some important decisions here. That is okay. But if the mind runs on its own, you should try and spot, where is it going? Is it going to that past incident which because it has given me pleasure, or is it going to that past incident because it gave me pain? Generally, whenever a painful experience occurs in your life, that pain is very deep. So that is why the mind keeps on going back. Pleasure you tend to forget, because the pleasure is not so deep. See, nobody knows how to enjoy also. They think enjoyment means getting excited. You know, a group of youngsters, they told me that, sir, every week we have a party. And I asked them, what do you do in the party? Oh, we just freak out, we just enjoy. I said, what is enjoyment means? What do you do? Oh, we just drink, we drink alcohol, we take a few pegs and we are all flat. How long does it take for all of you to go flat? Is it within 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 20 minutes maximum? Then I asked them, if you say that you get drunk and you're going flat, then where is the enjoyment? In order to enjoy something, you need to be present there fully. When you're reducing your awareness by drinking alcohol, then actually you are not registering that experience fully. Then you cannot enjoy. It is like saying, sir, we all enjoyed. How did you enjoy? We went off to sleep. That is only a passive enjoyment. It was an eye-opener for these youngsters, They said, then why is it that we are feeling calm when we drink alcohol? You are not feeling calm. It is, rather you're not feeling happy. What is happening is temporarily you're getting disconnected from your pain, from your stress. The stress is there only, but you're getting disconnected from that. So it feels as if you're feeling calm, but that is not true calmness. It is very interesting. So, when it comes to any deep experience, an experience which gives you immense pain, usually pain is what is deep. That's what I've observed in people's life. When it comes to pleasure, since they don't focus so much, they don't experience immense joy. If at all they get into something like alcohol, which actually reduces their awareness, or they get too excited and they call it as pleasure. No. For a person who is fully alive and who experiences pleasure, that is different. The mind will go there. Even to explain it further, if you just sit and if you write down, now I ask you to recount all the incidents of your life, major things. Now you will first start remembering all those things which have caused pain to you. What about this person? What do you remember of him? Oh, that person, he insulted me. You may even remember the date and you may tell me. That has caused so much of deep pain within you. So you are able to recall. The same person may have praised you 1,000 times. All that you will not remember, because you didn't register that pleasure fully. But if at all you manage to register the pleasure, then your mind will be able to recall that also. So when the mind recalls an experience based on whether that experience gave pleasure or pain, when the mind recalls on its own, then you have no control over it. It will go on traveling, it will go on generating thoughts towards that object. And slowly, you will become an addict. When a person insults you, you're very much attached to that person, because all the time you're thinking about that person. When a person praises you and you take it within your mind, truly speaking, you take it within your mind and it's so enjoyable, then again you get attached there. Your mind keeps on going. It wants more and more. You may ask me, what is wrong? If it is a good thing, fine. But if it's a negative thing, it's very, very dangerous. And when it's out of your control, you cannot stop your mind from going towards that negative thing. If I were to ask you right now, stop thinking about all the painful incidents of your life, you will say, how is it possible? This was a meditation given by Lord Buddha to detach from sorrow and get attached to happiness consciously. He used to give his disciples a meditative practice. So that is the meaning of calling to mind, recalling. It is a weakness of the mind. So how do you overcome that? It is again by applying awareness or consciousness. The moment you become aware and the mind is running towards an object, it's trying to recall an experience, the next thing you will ask is that going to help me in any way right now? Yes means you will allow the mind. No means you will pull back the mind and focus on the present. So, dhyayato vishayan means it's not that the object has to be in front of you. Your experience may have been over long back, physical experience, but you may still be recalling. The mind may be going to that experience again and again without your control. So these are the various dimensions of the mind, the weaknesses, and how it tries to compensate for those weaknesses. So the entire ladder of fall starts from this only. The three weaknesses which are embedded in this phrase, when he says dhyayate vishayan. The first is it has an explorative nature. Again, that is a very positive thing when you use it positively, but it can become very negative when it goes on its own, because it will start compensating for that in terms of gaining information. It will not sift, it will not find out what is harmful, what is good. It will go on gathering information. The second weakness is boredom. The mind always wants to compensate for boredom by generating casual thoughts, which really may not mean anything to you, but they can have very, very harmful effects later on. The third weakness is to go on its own and linger on the past experiences, recalling objects again and again. Why does it recall? Whenever that object is given pleasure or pain, it recalls that object. Your mind goes to those people who have given you pleasure. It also goes to those people who have been rude to you, who have tried to harm you. And that is why in one of the verses earlier, he said, go beyond pleasure and pain. Means experience pleasure, experience pain. They are part of life only. But don't allow your mind to recall them again and again unless you ask it to for some reason. So in the advanced sadhana, when we practice the higher levels of sadhana, at one level I will definitely teach you that meditation with which you can detach yourself from the past. That can be practiced only at a certain level. But right now what you can practice is to bring that awareness, that consciousness into your life. The more awareness you exercise, the more control you will have over your own mind. When you exercise less awareness, the mind will start running on its own in these three ways. The other dimension of imagining, I will explain to you as we go along. That is again an amazing thing. Probably after finishing verses 62 and 63, you will get a complete picture. We'll see at which portion that can be introduced. As we go along, we'll see. So first, these three aspects have been explained to you. You reflect on them, because these are the basic steps which you need to take in order to gain mastery over your mind. When you don't even know how your mind is fooling you, how your mind is running on its own, how it is controlling you, how is it possible for you to gain self-mastery? So today is a Sunday, you're watching it. You're watching this on a holiday. So after this, what are you going to do? Immediately you apply this and see. Invariably you will be bored today. So find out how your mind tries to, compensate for that boredom. Do you overeat because of that? Or do you just, aimlessly are you browsing the net or something you're doing aimlessly? How does the mind try to compensate for that? That is, see, by studying your own life, you can understand these verses better. So we will stop with this today. I've given you many deep insights about how your own mind functions. Next week we'll go into further depth, how it develops, he says it, sangaha, sangasteshu upajayate. What is this sangaha? And then from the sangaha, how it develops further, slowly, how the mind goes out of your control. So right at the first step itself, if you catch it, it is easy. Thereafter it becomes more difficult. By the time we go to verse 63, the fall has completely happened. Then you may ask me, sir, what do I do now? No issues. Verse 64, he'll start giving you the solution, how to rise. So even though he's giving you the ladder of fall here, side by side I'm also giving you the sadhana tips, so that you don't need to wait till we learn the entire mechanism of the mind, how it has fallen, and then the solution. Side by side, I'm also giving you that, so that it is easy for you to do the sadhana. Okay. There have been some questions about the preparation for this 22-day event. I have already given you the 2 videos. That is, it's audio material, but it's been put as a video. I think the links have been given to you. That is, all the registered participants, those who have registered for the 22-day event. So one material is for the morning and the other is for the evening. So you just play that and do that meditation every day. Even though it is a small capsule, it is very powerful. Every day when you do it for a week or so, you will start feeling a tremendous difference. Right from the first day itself, you will start feeling a lot of difference. So do it when you're free, not in the midst of activity, but set aside a little bit of your time for this, apart from your regular yoga sankirtan sadhana. This is only a small preparation, and sit and take a few deep breaths, then play that. The instructions I would have already given there. Just follow those instructions and a lot of healing will happen, because the 22-day program, I'm going to increase the energy tremendously. So this these small practices which I'm giving you here, I'm also invoking the healing energy gradually from now itself, so that by the time you come to attend the program, you will be very well prepared. You can take the energy, you can receive the energy without too much of turmoil. Otherwise, during the 22 days, a lot of release will happen. That is also fine. But this will make the whole process so easy for you. So don't listen to it more than once. The morning one, listen to it once in the morning. Evening once in the evening after sundown. Okay? So don't overdo it, and don't interchange it also. Evening material is meant for evening, because it's a careful structure is there. The morning one is meant to energize you. It is called the Surya Shakti. And the evening healing meditation which I have provided is meant to relax you, the Chandra Shakti. So you can don't dabble with that. Just follow whatever instructions have been given, and as and when it is required, I get more things in the meditation, whatever will help you. I'll be posting more videos, and the links will be sent to you. Okay. And there is one lady who had sent a mail. I'm not mentioning her name. So she has said that she was introduced to this by her colleague, and she started listening to the Yoga Sankirtan, and to her amazement, just within a few days she had this disease called psoriasis, which is a skin allergy kind of a thing. And she said the amazing thing is, within a few days the psoriasis has almost gone now. More than 90% it has gone. And that was very surprising for her. And she is continuing to do her sadhana. So now she has asked, I suffer from here and there some negative thoughts and all that. Will they also go away? 100% yes, because you are going on the right line. See, every disease has a psychosomatic factor, has an emotional factor. So why has this disease gone? Because you have received this energy so truthfully, so honestly, in a humble way, and so that has gone and removed certain emotional blocks within you. The result is you find the disease also disappearing. So if you continue on the same lines, the deeper negativities of the mind will also go away. If you have depression, like one person last week also I read, that person had depression, that went away. So the tendency to think negatively, these things will change. It is only a question of consistently applying yourself in this sadhana. And when you attend this, the advanced programs like what we're going to have this 22 days, it will remove these diseases from the root cause, which is there within you only. See, we strongly believe in the disease. We don't believe in the self-healing mechanism of the body. So, why I'm giving this experience of this lady to others also here is so that everybody can get that confidence. If it can happen to one person, why can't it happen to everyone? And one important thing which I want all to notice, including the person who sent me this mail, is that the reason why you had an immediate effect was because you just did the sadhana without any expectations, like a child. Let me just see what it is. You received the energy fully. So with that same attitude, if you attend the advanced programs, the effect will be million times more. So there have been other mails also. So one person has said this is got solved. Another person said he is going, in this during Corona times where people are losing jobs and salaries are getting cut, he has got a hike. He says, I myself not able to believe it, but it's all because of the sadhana and the positive energy which I have created within myself. He has mentioned that. Very, very interesting. So with this preparation of morning and evening which I've given you also, that will further enhance the healing process. So others who have written to me about this disease, then don't worry about all that. You just with a free mind attend the 22-day program. So many things will be given to you, so many practical tips will be given to you, a lot of healing will happen, empowerment will be given to you, empowerment meditation sessions which will activate your self-healing power. So through that process, many of your issues will get resolved, and then many will get resolved after that when you start practicing those principles. So I'm not going to get into each and every mail like that, and like I have this problem, I have that, what is the solution? Solution is sadhana only. And many answers you will be getting even during the discourses. Okay, so now we'll have meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. Deep inhalation and complete exhalation. With every breath, I'm going deeper and deeper into myself. I withdraw my consciousness from the physical body to the pranas, and from the pranas to the mind, I withdraw my consciousness further from my mind and I observe my own mind, the various thoughts and emotions arising from the mind. I look at my own mind as if it is an object of perception. I stand apart from my mind and I observe my own thoughts and emotions. I can see the mind has this tendency to explore and gain knowledge. I choose to exercise the faculty of awareness so that the mind does not go on its own and gather information. From this moment onwards, I choose what information the mind has to gather. The mind has a tendency to get bored in order to compensate for this boredom. It generates casual thoughts. I choose to exercise the faculty of awareness and I choose to enjoy each and every aspect of my life from this moment onwards. The mind has this tendency to recall those incidents which have given a lot of pleasure or a lot of pain. I choose to exercise the faculty of awareness and I choose to focus on the present task on hand. Whenever I want the mind to recall, I will send the mind and pull it back once the purpose is fulfilled. Otherwise, consciously, I choose to engage the mind in the present. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back, wriggle your fingers and your toes, rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, your cheeks, forehead, top of the head, the back of the head and neck. And very, very slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So today I took you quite deep and made you experience your own mind. See, as you withdraw your consciousness and go deeper and deeper, it is an infinite science. So many things are there within you. Actually, an entire universe is there within you. You don't need to go to the outer space. It is all there inside you itself. This is the secret of the Siddhas, the secret of the yogis, which is being revealed to you at an easy pace, at a pace at which you can easily absorb. If everything is given to you at one go, it will be very difficult to handle that energy, So think about these points which were given today. I have installed them in your deeper minds. So now when you think about them, automatically the depth will come. That is the whole idea of this Nididhyasana practice which we're doing in the end. And do your daily Yoga Sankirtan sadhana. And those of you who have registered for the 22-day, you've already got 2 preparatory videos. Do that in the morning and evening. And more instructions I will be sending you. Follow them diligently. Don't give any excuses why you're unable to do them. Find solutions. If you put a purpose, if you chalk out a plan, everything is possible. And it is you who is choosing all this. You have that power of choice, that's what I mean. You should only choose. So never say, I'm unable to do this, I'm unable to do that. Especially the sadhana part. So the more you do your sadhana, the better you will be able to receive the energy, as we invoke and expand during the 22-day program. Okay? Thank you very much. We'll meet next week. Thank you.